Yeah. Okay, we're live. Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren Zaleski, and I am the founder and admin of the group Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain.
And I'm Jackie, and I am a co-admin of Attitude of Gratitude.
So we thought, we've been talking for a while about doing bios on ourselves, so you guys got to know us as something more than just the admins. And then we had this idea to do it on video chat instead, just to make it a little more personal, and so you can put a face to the name. So we also thought we would do kind of interview style, we thought would be fun. So we've got questions for each other. It's the first time we're doing this. We've tried many, many times, so we're hoping it works. So I hope you enjoy it. You're up, Jackie.
All right. First of all, thank you for doing all the work so that we can do this.
No problem.
All right. So I'll just start. The first question I have for you is, what do you remember of how we met?
Got the story. I struggle with lupus and fibromyalgia as my main sources of pain, and a host of other things that go along with it. And I've had it since I was 32, and in 2001 I was diagnosed. I'm 47 now. And for the most part over the years I was able to deal with it. And then I got into a bad flare around 2009 that lasted about 4 years. And I went from like this really social person, being like, you know, PTA president and like Uber mom and stuff, to like never leaving the house, sitting on the couch. And it took me to a really, really dark place. I didn't belong to any support groups. It was more like, nobody understands my problems, I'm just going to sit here. I didn't want to die, I didn't want to kill myself, but I just didn't want to live in this body anymore. So then, in my infinite wisdom, the treatments that I was using were not working, so I decided to self-medicate with large amounts of alcohol and got into some trouble, and not in jail, thankfully, but in hospital. So that is what landed me at Silver Hill. They had a chronic pain and recovery program, which I'm so grateful for, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about that. So Jackie was my roommate. There's only a very small program. I think they only allow 8 people in the program at a time, and I did not want a roommate at all. And she seemed really sweet, but somebody 20 years younger than me, I just had no interest. I was so full of despair and misery. You remember Jackie?
Yeah.
I didn't know how I was ever going to come out of the despair. So that's how I met Jackie. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about that, but she's been a saving grace to me and is now like one of my BFFs and my soul sister.
Aw, I feel the same way. So tell me more about what your experience while at Silver Hill was like.
At some point, well, I did not want to be there. I didn't think I was an alcoholic. Now I know, and I'm very blessed that I have 3.5 years sober.
Woo!
Yeah. Woo-hoo. I decided that I really had to, I had no choice. That's how I felt, and I'm a rule follower, which sounds hilarious coming from a drunk driver, but I really wanted it to work because I never wanted to feel that way again. So I kind of put my all into it. Jackie, I just have to say this, we talk about black ducks quite a bit on Attitude of Gratitude, and you can see in our files there's a video with Dr. Singer from the program about what exactly a black duck is. But it's basically moments in your life that you forget about your pain. And you know, people coming to the program, including myself, would say, you know, I'm in pain 24/7, and it's not exactly true. I mean, you have your condition. I had my condition 24/7, but there's moments that I forget about it. And my first black ducks were from this chick. She's hilarious, and we laughed and laughed to like pee in my pants kind of laugh. We were just like little girls on a sleepover. So you were Silver Hill to me. I know you were only there for, you know, half of my visit, but you were Silver Hill to me, and I just adore you. You know that I love you to pieces.
Oh, I love you too. You know, now listening to you talk about Silver Hill, I don't remember what it was like before you got there. I just remember, like you said, that I never thought I would get better, you know?
So what led you to Silver Hill?
It's a pretty similar story to yours. My pain started when I was in high school. So I was, I want to say 15 or 16. And I pretty soon after got a diagnosis, thankfully. My first one was trigeminal neuralgia, which is this funky nerve thing in my face. But it's extremely painful. And would interrupt, me in class, hanging out with friends afterward. And I too decided, hey, I'm still in pain with all these meds. Why not drink the pain away?
Really? I didn't know you were much of a drinker.
Oh, yes. In high school, especially. I had a friend whose parents worked night shifts. And so her house was kind of a free-for-all, every weekend. And then, sometimes weeknights if we could. Yeah, that escalated pretty quickly. And then eventually, I came to Silver Hill much, much later after, after a few years of college. So after my pain started, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in high school. And like you, I had a really bad flare that really knocked me on my butt. And I went to all these different doctors. And once the flare subsided, the pain didn't. And I'm like, what's going on? I was begging for answers, and they kind of, were like, I really don't know. Their last resort was to do exploratory surgery. And when I woke up, I was on fentanyl.
I remember, I had never heard of it until meeting you.
Yeah. I know we don't talk about meds in AoG, but this is just,
That's your story.
Yeah. And that really was my downfall, because it's so strong and my tolerance built so quickly. And before I knew it, I wasn't functioning. I couldn't get out of bed. I was sleeping, I want to say at least 10 hours a day. And then through the night also.
And you were what, early 20s at the time, or late teens?
Yeah, early 20s, I would say.
Yeah.
And my family had an intervention, and it saved my life. It really did.
So after the intervention, they found Silver Hill for you, or somebody found it?
Yeah, my brother Googled it, and apparently at the time, I don't know if this has changed since, there was only two rehabs for people with chronic pain, and Silver Hill was near us, and then the other one was somewhere in California. So
same with us.
Yeah.
And I think there was one in Antigua, which is where Dr. Singer works now.
He
Eric
works in
Clapton owns it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
There was, I guess he was like the head of that program, right? Is what you'd say?
Yeah, I think he was his program director. He was also a huge part of it for me. I just loved his mannerisms. I loved the way he explained things. We talked, we had classes during the day, and then of course we'd have to go to AA meetings, NA meetings, and then they had the Chronic Pain Anonymous meetings, right, on like Thursday nights, I think.
Yeah, once a week.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I had never heard about Chronic Pain Anonymous.
Me either, never.
It turns out that it was a relatively new program at the time. I think like only 8 or 9 years. Now it's it's done in 2004. So now I do service work. I started a meeting here in New Jersey after I left a couple of years ago. I'm bouncing all over the place. Sorry.
I love it. So tell us about the meeting. When, where is it, and what's it like?
It's in Flemington, New Jersey, which is about maybe half an hour from my house. I'd gone up, Dr. Singer had asked me to go up and speak to the current pain patients, like maybe a little over a year after I left. And he asked me, like, so how are your Chronic Pain Anonymous meetings going? Knowing full well that I wasn't going to any. And I said, there are none in New Jersey. And he's like, get your act together and start one. So not wanting to disappoint one of my heroes, Dr. Singer, I did. And it wasn't difficult. It was a matter of just finding a room. The hospital's giving us a room, and we meet every Tuesday night. And it's just a place to work on, we focus, much like AoG, we focus on living in the solution and not the problem.
That's awesome. And what does that look like for you, living in the solution?
Well, that's kind of how AoG started. So I started it in, I think, November 2014, right after I started the Chronic Pain Anonymous meeting, mainly as a way for everybody in the meeting to kind of to send out like announcements and stuff. And then I started adding other people, like you, one of them, people I knew that were in chronic pain. So it's evolved into something that I can only describe as like this beautiful beating heart of wonderful people that are trying to live a better life. I was finding that in the other pain group, I belong to every pain group. You know, I'm such an alcoholic. It's not, I can't belong to one. I have to belong to all of them. And I was finding they were all so depressing. And, you know, I know that we need a place to bitch because this is not fun. We hurt, and that's, you know, living in happy, joy, gratitude all the time is not realistic. But I felt there's plenty of other groups that do that, but I wasn't finding a group where we could just kind of get a little motivation during the day and talk to other people that like wanted the same thing. I wasn't even sure if other people wanted that, but you know, I was sick of seeing like hospital pictures of people, and then somebody would quote and say, well, you know, you're lucky you only have that because I've got that plus this, and I've got, you know, it was just so everybody trying to one up each other. And it was kind of, you know, I know what the problem is. I want to know how to live my life and not just exist. So that's kind of what my thinking was.
That's awesome. I want to jump back to, you talked about the black ducks and how, you know, we all tend to think that we are constantly in pain, but that's not true, at least in our experience. So what do you say to those people that are like, you're wrong, I am in pain constantly? How do you counter that, I guess?
I kind of don't. I think it's like self-diagnosis thing. You know, I encourage them to come to the group.
Yeah.
And we've got relatively strict rules in the group that have really evolved over the past couple of years. And I think they're pretty solid and say what we're about. We're a no complaining group. There's other places you can do that. This is not the place. This is a place where we can try to, I don't know, just to be happy. Isn't that the end goal of life? For me, it is. I just want to be happy, you know? Yeah. So what do I say to people? I kind of just nod my head and say, I'm sorry. And, you know, encourage them to come to the group or Chronic Pain Anonymous. And some of them do, a lot of them don't. Maybe I hope that they will in time. But, you know, right. I didn't think that I lived without pain 24/7 either. It had to be kind of brought to my attention. And, you know, and after you made me laugh, the pain, I would recognize the pain. But I think people are mistaking the pain with their condition.
Right.
The pain is like your thought and how you feel. I don't know if I'm describing that right.
Yeah.
Your condition isn't leaving. It's just your thought of the pain. You experiencing the pain, I guess, is what's leaving. Even briefly, like with a beautiful, you know, favorite piece of music, or laughing with your roommate at rehab, or whatever. How about you?
So it seems like for both of us, it's a lot about perspective.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I was one of those that said, what are you talking about? You know, how dare you say that I'm not in pain? I really strongly believe that. And I had to experience it in the moment, you know, like you said, laughing at rehab and eating chips until 1 a.m.
And candy.
Yes, and run. I had to catch it in the moment because, you know, when you're in pain, we've all experienced the pain brain fog. And so it's tough. It's tough to be self-critical, to be self-reflective. So it's not, for me, it wasn't until I could see it happening and catch it and notice it in the moment that I really believed that I was not in pain 24/7.
Yeah, as Dr. Singer calls it, once you recognize those moments, you can be a farmer of black ducks.
Yes, I love that.
Me too. I'm going to send him a link to this video. I'm sure he'll love to see it.
Good.
But, you know, you can like compile those moments, you know, those moments where maybe you're not in pain, and maybe you can just be more mindful of trying to have more of those moments if you can.
Yeah, and savor them.
Yeah, exactly. So when it was last February that you came on board, or this past February, I checked earlier this morning. We were starting to grow. And I knew it wasn't smart for me to just be by myself. And it was almost like magic that you happened on that very day that I was thinking that you offered to help. Yeah. So what made you offer to help, and what were you thinking?
You know, it really I don't remember much, thinking of anything. I remember we were talking about it and I was saying how cool it was. And, we were kind of marveling at how it was growing. And just, I just started to get into service in AA. And so I had service on the brain and I said, I was just like, hey, I should ask how I could help. And I did. And you were so awesome and so excited, which was really cool for me because even in early sobriety and early, recovery from such a severe state of pain, I was still struggling with a lot of feelings of inadequacy. I was like, what can I do to help anyone? And so coming on, as an admin, was such an honor. It really did a lot for my confidence too. So there's some selfish motives there.
No, it's not selfish at all. I've seen you grow too, and you were like the perfect person, honestly. And I do believe in God, and I believe that God put us together at rehab just for this purpose, to maybe help other people that want to try to be more positive and live in gratitude too. But we work so well together. Perfect. Yeah. And I know some of you may know, but Jackie and we spend a lot of time behind the scenes. We screen every single person that comes in every day. We do get a lot of hackers trying to get in. So now we're getting about 20 requests a day, maybe 3 or 4 we'll have to deny because they want into our group for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. But even group decisions, like, we don't make them on the fly. Jackie and I will really have a good one-on-one discussion about them. And sometimes what I think is not what she thinks, and vice versa. But I don't think we've ever argued about anything or disagreed. And if one of us feels stronger, we just say, hey, you know what, you feel stronger, let's go with it. I feel that you have made this group what it is today, really, you coming on board. I don't think one person could be doing this. It just, you are the heart and soul of AoG. I believe that. And you're freaking adorable and so funny.
I find too, and I don't know if you feel the same, but all these, we take it so seriously, these things, because it's such a big part of our lives, and I'd like to think a lot of other people's lives too. And I always, even if almost especially when we disagree, I come away with it feeling so, I guess, enlightened, for lack of a better word. It's a really cool experience to talk something through that you disagree on and feel good about it.
Yeah, totally.
With knowledge, it's a really cool thing.
Totally. It's perfect. It really is. So so you said the group has helped you with your confidence. It's helped me with my confidence too, I think. I checked, and we came very close to closing the group at 100 people, like really like a click away from closing it. And I checked this morning, we were at 100 people back in March, and we'll be hitting 1,000 people within the next, probably 3 days or so. So yeah, I guess it was a couple months ago, all of a sudden we came up on people's suggested pages if you've got chronic pain, and that's when it started to kind of explode. Yeah. Oh gosh, what was my line of thinking on this one? Brain fog.
We're gonna close it, and we did it.
We were going to close it because what we didn't want to lose was the intimacy of it. It was very intimate, and we didn't want to lose that. We really didn't care about it getting big. It wasn't about that. It was about just people coming together to, share their inspirations and their gratitudes and stuff. I don't know what made us hesitate.
Yeah,
but we did, and I think our mindset, and correct me if I'm wrong, our mindset was kind of like, if it starts to get out of hand, we'll just close it and leave it at that.
That's the thing. We always knew we had the option. Right. So if it's not crazy, it's like, why rush into it?
Right. And I found that it hasn't. I mean, there's more work, obviously. There's more people trying to get in, and there's more monitoring of the group and stuff. But for the most part, like, if people read our rules, which we strictly enforce when you come into the group, because it's so different from other pain programs, it hasn't gotten out of hand. And I feel like the more people that come on board that share our vision, and we've gotten so many awesome new people lately, it's just like, it makes it even better. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah. So talk a little bit more, if you can, about how you feel our rules have really been a catalyst, I guess, for keeping our group the special place that it is. Because we have some critics, you know, who
Yeah, we
aren't
do.
happy with how strict we are, which is understandable.
Yeah. We've got the no complaining rule, and we're sometimes lenient on that. It's usually when we see somebody just consistently doing it day after day. We're not a pity-seeking group. I think actually it's a good question, because I think the one rule that we have that I love the most is we are all to assume that we're in the exact same amount of pain. Nobody's got worse pain, nobody's got less pain, and whether physical or emotional. We've got some people that have physical pain and some that have emotional. And it's my opinion that pain is pain, whether it's physical or emotional. I think it emotionally affects us all the same, is my opinion.
Yeah.
So putting us all in a level playing field keeps us from trying to one-up each other. So that's a really good question. I think that's probably my favorite rule. And we, for the most part, people do listen, Yeah. What do you think? What's your answer to that question?
I think the rules, when we first started having to really enforce them more often, it felt icky to me because I am a people pleaser and I do not like to say no, especially people like me who are hurting day in and day out. But I learned pretty quickly, or we learned together, I think, that the reason we have to say no and do these things that don't feel so great is to protect the integrity of this place that's become so special because of the members. They've given us such a gift in making it this way, and it's kind of our responsibility, I think, to keep it the way it is.
I totally agree. It's not easy. I think we're getting a lot better at it.
Yeah.
In the beginning, we would just belabor the decision on and on and on. Do we, don't we, do we, don't we? And now we're just kind of like, no, because we know if we don't stick to those rules, if we give a little bit of wiggle room, it's just going to end up like every chronic pain support group.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like badmouth the other chronic pain support groups, because they help thousands of people with a very necessary need. We just have a different niche and a different vision.
A different purpose, right?
Exactly. So yeah, sticking to the rules is tough. And there, it's like, I don't know, 2-3 pages of rules. And there's the obvious, like the no selling and all that crap and stuff. But yeah, the no complaining is hard, especially because we become like a family in there.
Yes.
Having a rough day, sometimes it's hard to not say that. But I know, like for myself, I'll do it like a PM with people. If it's like I did with you yesterday, as a matter of fact. I bitched to you yesterday private. So it's just, I feel like if it's constant complaining on the board, on and on and on, that's when I feel like it gets depressing.
Right. So we're not saying that complaining is a bad thing in general. We're saying that this is not the place for it, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So the group is not the only way you've been active with chronic pain and recovery and all that on Facebook. You're doing this awesome project that's now coming to an end. Can you talk about that?
I can. I'm calling it my Gratitude Project. I started it on January 1st. And I guess why I started it, well, partly was because of our group being named Attitude of Gratitude with chronic pain. And that name came from, that's the official name of our Chronic Pain Anonymous meeting. It's in the Chronic Pain Anonymous literature that something like we're supposed to have an attitude of gratitude. So I really liked the name. So I put, because every group has a different name. But then also my sponsor in AA told me really early on that a grateful heart will never get you drunk. And that is something that I'll never forget. So I kind of became like this, I don't know, gratitude junkie. Like I started trying to give an affirmation every day with sponsees that I had. We would text back and forth every day, like one thing we were grateful for every day. So the Facebook project was really scary to me because I was worried about annoying people. So what it is I decided that every day for the entire year, I was going to list one thing that I'm grateful for. and try to never repeat, which has been very difficult, and I think I have sometimes, and never make it anything, or try to not make it anything of like material value, like like my iPhone or something like that. Like I wanted it to be stuff that people could relate to. And me being also a people pleaser, I was nervous about it. I felt like, well, it was me. I did it for myself. It was for me putting out an affirmation to like my universe, my Facebook universe. I really thought that people would get annoyed and possibly unfriend me or unfollow me, which maybe they have, I don't know. But it really grew into something like people seemed to like it. And then as the year went on, I was writing a little bit more, getting a little more confidence. And so, yeah, it's coming to an end, and I've had some people, you know, encourage me. They say that I should put these gratitudes in a book. So I'm looking into that. But in the meantime, so I'm starting a blog January 1st once the gratitude project is over. And you can read, I wrote an article for the Mighty on my gratitude project, which you can find in our, why am I pointing up? Our files are not up, but maybe from here. In our files, you can find a link. I think it's an AoG authors page.
Yeah.
To it.
You've written a few articles for the Mighty, right?
Yeah, I haven't written any lately. I've been busy with other things. I do have a couple ideas though, but yeah, that was kind of a big thing too. I think I wrote my first one in maybe February, and when they published it, it was really kind of a rush. I always keep my articles positive though, because I feel like even the Mighty's kind of getting negative. And again, you know, we need to hear negative, but I wanted to be that positive voice in the whole thing. Oh, I want to mention my shirt. See, it says grateful.
It's so cute.
I'm kind of, people now think of me with gratitude and grateful. So Ann Earhart, Annie, who's in our group, she gave me this. Very cute. So I want to wear a gratitude shirt for this.
Is that another Life is Good one?
It is, yeah. I've got a couple of them.
A lot of gratitude shirts. So anyone that's looking for some grateful gear, we are not getting paid to shout them out.
I wish.
Yeah. One day we'll have sponsors.
What other questions did I have for you? So what was your relationship with pain like then, like before you got to Silver Hill versus now?
Before Silver Hill, I was very, very much in a victim mentality. Everything in life, not just my pain, but I felt very much that I'm young and I don't deserve this pain, and therefore I'm entitled to X, Y, and Z, which was detrimental to not just myself and my happiness, but my relationships with my family and, you know, people around me. You know, it was very, very negative. It was in a dark place. When I was in college, there was a brief time, I went to art school for a couple years. And my first photo series was about my pain. But I didn't, you know, I was obviously in pain when I was doing it and found it to be really tiring. I was commuting into the city. And so the results were not what I wanted. And I think, you know, I'm realizing now that that was kind of a turning point for me. You know, I took my failure at that project as, you know, well, I can't do anything, so why try and do something productive with this at all, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was the start of a long pattern of negativity and you know, self-destruction and all that kind of stuff, for sure.
Yeah. I didn't realize how bad I was. I didn't realize, I mean, I knew it was affecting my family because they really lost a mom for a while. I was there, but not there. They didn't know how much I was drinking. But my husband, Rob, who's my saint and my angel and my high school sweetheart, he's my rock, and he really picked up the pieces of my family. But now everybody, you know, I was so worried about like damaging them and with the kids growing up and stuff. But now I think that it just happened just in time. Instead of thinking, you know, I wish it happened earlier, I think it happened just in time.
Yeah.
And I got to send my kids off to college knowing that mom's okay. I mean, they, you know, I still have my physical conditions, but they know mom's okay.
Yeah. And that's what matters.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So what else? Oh, my funny question for you. What's with the Hello Kitty obsession?
Oh my God. It is chronic pain related, sort of.
Really?
When I was a kid, like many other kids, I needed my tonsils out. I had gotten strep throat like 16 times, I think it was, in 1 year. And my parents went to the doctor, like, what the hell's up with this kid? We got to do something. And so they took my tonsils out. And when I was in the hospital, my aunt and uncle, I believe it was my Uncle Mike and my Aunt Liana, they just brought me, a whole bag of Hello Kitty stuff. And that's my first memory of Hello Kitties in the hospital. I couldn't talk, and I was writing on Hello Kitty paper, whatever I wanted to say, and I've been obsessed ever since.
I think you had some stuff at Silver Hill. Do you remember we watched an episode of like Intervention at Silver Hill, and there was a younger girl there, and she went to rehab, and she brought her Hello Kitty stuff, and we started cracking up. Yeah.
I was like, how'd they get that video of me?
I know. Yeah, I guess that's it. Is there anything else we haven't covered?
I have one last question.
Oh, okay.
If you could sum up your message to people who are still struggling, where we were at before we got to Silver Hill, what would you say to them?
I'd say, if you really want a better life instead of just, wallowing in pity and stuff, it's possible. Yeah, it's hard work. It's really, really hard work. After I got home from Silver Hill, I had to not go back to my couch or my bed because that I would easily get back into that pattern that I was in. Thankfully, it actually worked really great with having to go to AA meetings because I had to make myself social again.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a whole program that we were supposed to follow after we left from Silver Hill, like incorporating yourself back into society and stuff. Easier said than done when you're in pain. It's not like we went there and we were out of pain. It's not the case. It's just, it gave me tools to live a better life. And, anything, I always think that no matter what, anything is better than June 20th of 2013. Which is when I woke up in the hospital after DUI, not knowing how I got there. That was the lowest I've ever been, and I pray to God I ever want to go. So that's where my gratitude comes from. I have to think that no matter what kind of pain I'm in, it's still better than that. Yep. It's still better than having to go to Silver Hill initially. I mean, eventually I liked it, but anyway, so I'm babbling. But so there is a way. If they can join our group and maybe just lurk, I know we have a lot of lurkers and we love them too. You don't have to participate in this group, to get something out of it, and just see, maybe you're having a bad day, but somebody else is having a really good day, and they'll give you tools on what they did, like how to adjust. Because I feel like every day I have to wake up with acceptance because I do tend to forget that I'm sick sometimes, and then sometimes I'll just have to adjust the way I do things depending on how I'm feeling that day. But despite my chronic pain and my chronic illness, I'm so damn happy. I'm so damn happy, and this group has a lot to do with it. And thanks to all of you for being so supportive and so active or not active in the group, just for being there. And my life, all the things that are happening in my life are actually because of my chronic pain. Like my blog and hopefully my book and this group, and all the people from my AA meetings who I adore, it's all because of my pain. It's kind of crazy. So it's not the life I planned at all. But I'm grateful for it, and I actually wouldn't change it.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
What?
Yeah. I feel the same way. I mean, I never, ever, ever thought these words would come out of my mouth, but I am so grateful that I am a crazy, ill, hurting, recovering addict and alcoholic. I'm so grateful. I think people like us have a special lens through which we view life, and I would say the same thing as you. I guess what it comes down to for me is just because your pain level doesn't get any better, doesn't mean your life can't,
That's good.
That's all about.
Yep, that's good. I also, and I should have added this earlier, I also don't really like the us versus you mentality.
Yes.
I can't stand that. Like, yes, it's so true. Like if this one only knew what I was going through, and yes, sometimes I wish they could feel it, but I don't like that feeling of like us versus you. I think it's really, I don't know, divisive or something. It feels icky to me.
Divisive. I agree.
Yeah, and I think you were the one that brought that to my attention a while ago, and it's true. So our group really doesn't focus on that either.
Yeah, I think it's the different perspectives that really, that's what we need.
Yeah, I mean, we're all living the same life, and they struggle. Everybody struggles with something. One of my favorite sayings is everybody has their shit. They do. But they don't necessarily have a platform in which to share on it with other people, and we're lucky that we do.
Yeah.
All right, Roomster. I love you.
I love you. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for anyone who watches this.
Sorry, it's so long. But yeah, we're very grateful for all you guys. We hope for all of you that are celebrating Christmas, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, if you celebrate. We're grateful for all of you so much, and we love you all. I love you, Rumi.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.